Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to MUFC. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. This is Sean, host, reporting live this morning after waking up to some David Ornstein bombas. If you couldn't tell in the thumbnail, Danny B popping in early. Good morning, my friend. How are you? How are things over in New England this morning? Apparently, it rained last night here in Michigan. I was out all night. Didn't even know. Woke up, it's already feeling like an armpit outside. It's humid, it's hot, it's gross. Have I mentioned before how much I hate summer? I hate it. You guys summer people, you winter people, let me know in the chat. My favorite time of the year is autumn. I love autumn. Perfect weather, good food. All the sports are starting up. It's great. So let me know what you think. What kind of weather person are you? See, I'm of the mindset like between hot and cold, like I can always put more clothes on if I get cold, but once it gets to a certain point, you can't take any more clothes off to cool off. It just is what it is. So went on a little bit of one there, but that's okay. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. We are going to get stuck in today. A lot of news, a lot of updates, a lot of comments from Erik Ten Hag, a lot of injury updates especially. So let's get stuck in. Before we do, please like the channel, or like the video, sorry. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we are going to jump right in. Danny B, heat outside at work yesterday was horrible. Went through three t-shirts by 11 o'clock, dude. I've walked my dogs twice a day, and it's like I have to change my shirt after I get back from each walk, because it's just so... I sometimes have to change my shirt after doing a video because... You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with how quads work, but like the top level of a quad compared to the bottom level, like the lower level, there's like 15-degree difference. So it's hot in here. The door's closed. Pretty sweaty by the time these videos are done. So summer, man, I can't. And it's just like it's thunderstorms, it's heat. It's just ridiculous. And it's always humid. Like I said, it feels like you're literally in an armpit all day long. So let's get stuck in. So breaking news this morning coming from David Ornstein. Dropped the David Ornstein bomba, as it's called these days. Man United have submitted a joint double bid offer to sign both Matthijs and Noussair Mazraoui from Bayern Munich. That was just came out live this morning. This bid was rejected, though, by Bayern Munich. They do want a higher fee. Obviously, United and Bayern have been haggling over a Ligt price for several weeks. Bayern are digging in their heels. United only want to go a certain amount. And then obviously we threw Mazraoui in the mix in the last few weeks. Talks are ongoing, however, as David Ornstein reports. United want the deal. The players want the deal. Personal terms haven't been a problem. Both players have the same agent, right? Pimenta. She's been working hard. All those terms have been agreed for a while. The players want the move. De Ligt's taking a pay cut. Mazraoui everyone wants it. They're on the fringes at Bayern. You know, Thomas Tuchel brought in new defenders. You know, he brought in a new right back. He brought in a new center back. Who knows what Bayern are going to want to do under Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany. The big rebuild for Vincent Kompany. Okay, so David Ornstein actually also adds that both players' camps have been bemused, and he even, I think somebody used the word perplexed by Bayern Munich's rejection of this double bid, especially given the position of both of the players in the squad, right? They're not really in the first team picture. Bayern have bought a couple defense center backs since De Ligt has joined. They're looking at Jonathan Tah. Obviously, they just lost Ito. He picked up a foot injury in preseason, but it sounds like De Ligt's still not in the picture. He just rejoined the squad today, so we'll see how that all works out, but could be interesting. Could be a bit awkward, you know, as everyone returns and De Ligt's there like, guys, what's going on? So we'll see how it goes. What are your thoughts on that double bid? I haven't seen any prices yet in terms of what the bid was. So if you guys have, you can let me know. But it does sound like we're moving forward. We got the reports yesterday, obviously, that at United have pretty much said, like to Mazraoui at least, hey, prepare yourself. This is coming through. So as a result, though, it does look like one player who looks like he's going to be moving out the door sooner than later is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So this Pletty Florian Plettenberg, reported yesterday that West Ham and Aaron Wan-Bissaka have finally agreed on personal terms on a 4-year contract. Hasn't been an agreement with United yet, but it seems like if we're making an offer for Mazraoui, it does seem like we'll probably get an update on United and West Ham kind of coming to an agreement on a deal probably by the end of the weekend, right? West Ham made that initial offer of what, £10 million. We were looking for something closer to 18 million. I do think that 10 million is too low for Wan-Bissaka. I've said that in the past. Similar to Fulham's low ball offer for McTominay. I think that, yes, you want to sell these players. Maybe they don't fit into the system. They don't fit the plans moving forward. But at the same time, you got to know your value. You got to look at what else is going on. This is why, like, when you're selling houses, the appraiser is going to look at comps. You know, they're going to give you comps to see what other similar houses in your area are going for and stuff. And it's just about market value. And I think that it's fair to demand what you think a player is worth, not only in the market, but also to you. It's one of those things sometimes when a manager likes a player and doesn't want to sell a player, you kind of have to for financial reasons. You still want to know what the player is worth. So I think as far as Wan-Bissaka is concerned, I think it'll probably be closer to like 15 million when it's all said and done. Whether or not that includes add-ons, we'll see. Usually the deals do, but I think Wan-Bissaka will be out the door, or at least confirmed by the end of the weekend, personally. But we'll see, because if we're lumping Mazraoui and Ligt in as one offer, as a joint offer, that could complicate things as well. But I don't think we would have done that had we not gotten some sort of agreement with West Ham. So moving up to midfield. We'll get there, Danny. Danny wants to know if there's any news on McSauce. We'll get there. We'll talk about it a little bit. So Manchester United's £42 million offer for Manuel Ugarte has been rejected by PSG. They are holding firm on their £50 million valuation. They do not want to sell the player at a discount. That's coming from Duncan Castles. 42 million, in my opinion, isn't a discount. It's lower than what PSG paid for him, but why should United, or any club for that matter, have to pay extra just because PSG overpaid? You know, if you wanted to recoup your money, you should have told Luis Enrique to play Ugarte a little bit more. You should have not made it very obvious that he wasn't part of the plans, right? Like, that's not how you get as much as you want for a player. You're not going to make profit on a player you don't even want. I said the same a while back about João Neves at Atletico Madrid. You know, they paid a lot of money to bring him to Atletico from Benfica, and then they turn around and were demanding basically to get their money back. Like, that's not my problem that you spent way too much on João Neves. That's not anyone. There's no one else's fault but your own that you overpay for a player. Like, call that a teachable moment as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, there's that potential for a loan to buy option with Ugarte, but it does sound like they're still going to hold out for a decent fee. So we'll see what happens there, but it does sound like, I mean, it's not too far apart. If they're asking for 50 and we put in 42, it doesn't sound like we're too far apart. Probably meet in the middle on that one. Danny Beast, 50 million euros is overpaying, to be honest. Go get João Gomez at Wolves, similar profile experience. Yeah, João Gomez, we were linked to him a while back, and it all went super quiet there, didn't it? Yeah, I did a brief little, when I was looking at my defensive midfield video for targets, I did briefly talk about João Gomez. I gave a little bit of statistics there and stuff. If you want to go learn a little bit more about him, go check out that video. Some of the statistics are probably moot at this point because that was before the season ended and everything, but still, there's also some info in there about his profile and everything. So as attached to this Ugarte deal, so as Danny B says, maybe walk and go get someone else. Duncan Castle's always added to that Manchester United are considering other alternatives, such as Joey Veerman, who is at PSV Eindhoven, Martin Zubimende, who we've been linked with recently, Fabian Ruiz, who had a pretty good showing for Spain in the Euros. He's also at PSG. And then Sander Berge at Burnley. Obviously, he was at Sheffield United, and then he went to Burnley this recently. On Sander Berge, word is he doesn't want to play in the Championship anymore. It sounds like Burnley are open to a £20 million fee. If it was a choice between Berge, I'd almost rather just stick with Collier, given just the role they're going to play and the quality I've seen. I think it's not saying Berge is bad. I just think I would just rather stick with Collier and maybe spend a little more on a better option. But that is just my opinion. Danny B, Erik ten Hag wanted him. We were linked with João Gomes in his first January window. Wolves got him, and Erik ten Hag got Sabitzer on loan. Yeah, we it's just we're cheap. The Glazers are cheap. We are not able to do deals. It's frustrating because we've seen sometimes that in an emergency situation we can do these loans, but it's like, where is the urgency when it comes to just being proactive about strengthening the squad? And that's the kind of thing, like, we could have, I think, honest to God, that January when Cristiano Ronaldo left and we ended up getting Wout Weghorst, I said, and I didn't have a channel at the time, but I said, if we had better negotiate, I swear on my life, if we were interested in the recruitment team in now that we had, like, that we back then, I think we could have easily gone and gotten Marcus Thuram for pennies that January. He was going to be free at the end of the season. He ended up going to Inter. I think we could have got Marcus Thuram, could have kept him on, could have still brought in Rasmus Højlund last summer, and that could have been a good strike force to work with. We could have gotten Marcus Thuram for super cheap had we just spent a little bit of money and opened. And then that's not me saying we were linked. I'm saying that's the kind of thing we could have been doing had we had owners who were willing to just spend a little bit just to get us over the finish line. But instead we got Wout Weghorst on loan. And I'm not trying to diss Wout Weghorst. It's such a crying shame that he didn't score any league goals. I happened to be at the Real Betis match at Old Trafford when he scores, so it was a rare kind of collector's item for me to see Wout Weghorst score. But I do see a lot of similarities in, like, McTominay, or when we put Hannibal up front the other day, that Wout Weghorst showed, which I do think Ten Hag likes from his strikers. He likes them to be very energetic, very proactive. Wout Weghorst pressed a lot, but Danny B agrees with me on Thuram. Yeah, we could have probably spent 10, 15 and got him in January, so Mönchengladbach didn't have to lose him for free. But it sounds like maybe the deal was locked in ahead of time with Inter. But that, again, I think we could have swooped and pushed a little harder and just spent a little bit of money. Still bringing Sabitzer in on loan, that's fine. I like Sabitzer a lot. It's a shame that he picked up injuries, but he looked really good last season at Dortmund. So what are you going to do? But what are your thoughts on Ugarte and Danny B? 50 million is overpaying. I do think 50 million is a bit too much for a player that if they didn't want to lose him, if he was a bigger part of the squad and maybe they just and we just wanted him for no reason, I could see that. But you don't want him. You overpaid for him probably. He's it is what it is. And you don't get to, you can stick with him and that's it. I don't know what to tell you, PSG. So I think PSG I think they're a little butthurt about losing Mbappe, honestly. Sticking with midfielders and kind of getting to Danny B's question on McTominay. So we discussed yesterday in the morning show Fulham's latest bid for Scott McTominay fell short of our evaluation. Well, Duncan Castles reported yesterday that they will be returning for another bid. Fulham. Laurie Whitwell adds that Fulham think that McTominay is eager for a new challenge. He wants more minutes. And so they think that they could probably sell him that and spin it that way. Duncan Castles chimed in that Spurs also are interested in McTominay as well. So, and then you still have Galatasaray, and then there were links with Fenerbahce as well. So again, potential Scott McTominay bidding war, a sentence not many football fans ever thought they'd hear said out loud, right? I think I remember that verse in the book of Revelation, right? Scott McTominay bidding war, right? And I joke and I kid, but watch him bag the winner against us in the first match of the season, right? If he does go to Fulham. Like I said, though, I do think Ten Hag likes McTominay. He probably wishes that McTominay offered just a bit more in midfield. But I think that Ten Hag clearly sees that he can be effective higher up the pitch. He scored a lot of goals last season in making late runs, causing problems in the box. He did play him a little further forward towards the end of last season. We've seen him play it a little further forward in preseason. He just has this random knack for just kind of knowing where to be in the box and popping up in the right places. Maybe that comes, remember when he was in the academy, he did start off as a striker. Maybe that has something to do with it. I've often said that I do think his best trait is his striking of the ball, his finishing. He just always seems to just do it. I don't know. I think he's got a really good shot on him. Remember those 2 goals he scored against Leeds with Ollie. Obviously, that long ranger from near the midfield against City before lockdown, he's got a good shot on him. I'll give him that. And Ten Hag actually had some comments on McTominay recently. So he said, "I am so pleased to have him in my squad, the type of person, such a huge impact on the team spirit. He is playing more in an advanced position that suits him better. He is so important to making goals in my team. I'm happy to have him." And that's kind of like what I've been saying, right? I do think that playing a little more advanced we've seen a little bit more from McTominay in that regard in terms of just his effectiveness. Again, he causes problems. He presses. We saw that the other day against Real Betis, pressing high up the pitch, causing problems, forcing throw-ins and things. Like, he could do that, and that's what I mean. It reminds me a lot of how Weghorst played when he was under us as well. I know some fans are raging that United haven't accepted any of these low ball offers for McTominay, and I don't think it's not just about getting the most money. At least for me, I think that, again, coming from these comments, and again, I don't like to read too much into what managers say in pressers, but again, I just don't think Ten Hag, in an ideal world, I don't think Ten Hag would sell McTominay personally. I think he likes him, what he brings, and I think that it's clear that Ten Hag and many managers, they like players who give their all on the pitch. There's a difference between giving your all and being effective, like being a good footballer. They like players who give their all energy-wise, even if they aren't the most talented footballers. We've seen that from a lot of managers. Like Pochettino, like a lot of Chelsea fans don't rate Conor Gallagher. Pochettino loves Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher played like so much last season, even when he was heavily rumored to be sold. And now Pochettino's not there anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter. But there's a reason managers stick with these players. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I would want a starting 11 of 11 Scott McTominays. I'm just saying that there's intangible qualities that some players bring to the squad that, like Gary Neville will fully admit, like, he wasn't the most talented footballer by the definition of what you call talent or natural skill, but he is one of the hardest working, most determined, dedicated, responsible leaders, players, captains, whatever you want to call it, there were, and that brings something to the team. Not only that, but it raises the standards and it pushes the rest of the squad to work harder as well. I don't think Ten Hag, again, in an ideal world, I don't think he would sell McTominay if it were solely up to him. But I think right now, too, I think that I could strengthen, but I can't strengthen unless I sell. And so I might have to sell McTominay because that's going to bring in the most money. Again, finances could be playing a bigger role here. And I know we talk about selling Casemiro. Unlike Casemiro, McTominay is not on big wages. He's still only in his late 20s. What are you, 26, 27 right now? He's 100% profit. And so it reminds me of the James Garner sale from a couple of years ago. It was profit, or Kambwala, all profit kind of a thing. A lot of the youngsters that have been sold, all profit. And so when things are tight financially, that's kind of what you see from some clubs. So that's about all there is on McTominay. Danny B, let me know your thoughts. We know that you're not a fan, but this is just what's been developing this past couple days. So I read an interesting claim yesterday. Let me know if you guys saw this. This is coming from Christian Falk. Obviously, he's a big Bayern Munich correspondent, heavy with Bundesliga news. But he, for some reason, reported yesterday that Ivan Toney wants to join United. Reportedly, Ivan Toney's agent has said as much to Brentford that he wants to leave. He wants to go to United, according to Christian Falk. What are your thoughts on that? We bought Højlund a year ago. We just bought Xerxes. Do you think we need another striker? Do you think Toney, do we think Toney is someone that we would bring in? Do we need another striker right now? Sanita Fury, hey, how are you from Zambia? We're sick of being imbalanced. We have just signed 2 players, but we're feeling to bring in other players. Look what is going on now. 4 players that got injury. Yeah, we've got, 4 injuries, 2 of which are going to be for a little while. And then there's Rashford and Anthony. Still don't know what's going on with Anthony. I think we have to be patient. I think that, look at other squads, like Liverpool. What have Liverpool done? Not really anything. And they've got a new manager. Usually when you get a new manager, you like to strengthen a bit. I think we have to sell first. Someone made a comment on one of yesterday's videos. why it is we're taking it. I think that it's because we need to sell right now. Again, the Glazers, everybody, because of the horrible dealings, the Glazers not really doing a good job. They have left us in a pretty shitty situation in terms of, FFP, PSR. And so we can never really sell players. We pay players too much. We overpay for them, and we've done that for a decade. And it's just, this is the result. This is what happens when you do that. It's like buying a car and then just not ever getting the oil change and stuff. You can only do that for so long before the consequences start to rear up, and then you've got to deal with it, and it's going to cost you more than it would have if you just spent $40 on an oil change every now and then, as opposed to now you've got to replace an engine because you never got an oil change. Like, it's just, it is what it is. But Danny B, take 25, send him packing. Danny B, I love the just tell it like it is, man. You just never change. I love it. Yeah, I do think, again, like the example I gave yesterday, Fulham, they just sold João Palhinha for almost $50 million. They just bought Emile Smith-Rowe for like a $35 million package or something. Like, compare McTominay to Emile Smith-Rowe in that situation. And if you're going by what they paid for Emile Smith-Rowe, you have to at least, like, and I'm not saying take this, I'm just saying by that comparison, that context, you'd have to add like 15, 20 million to McTominay's price compared to what they paid for Emile Smith-Rowe. Emile Smith-Rowe barely starts in the last couple of seasons. He's like, I don't remember the last time I saw him on the pitch, honestly. And they spent 35 million. Like, McTominay scored a lot of goals last season. He's been a regular in the starting 11. Like, he's got trophies and whatnot. He needs to be going for a little bit more. So we'll see what happens. Galatasaray are throwing some weight around recently, so we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. I know that we've tentatively been linked with Fenerbahce interest, and I said the other day I was surprised, honestly, that Jose Mourinho wasn't interested in McTominay more heavily, just because we know Mourinho likes McTominay, and Mourinho does tend to bring former players with him. He brings Nemanja Matic pretty much everywhere he goes. He brought Chris Smalling with him. He had him with Roma, so it is what it is. Dana B. met to Tony. Yeah, I'm not too keen on Tony. I don't think I don't think we need to spend extra money on a striker right now. We just brought in Obi Martin, who reports say is going to be like a third option for us for striker. It sounds like he's kind of jumped ahead of Wheatley in the pecking order. That's how highly people rate him, I guess. I guess he's pretty big, like, what is it, like 6'2". He's got good feet. Like, I haven't watched a lot of Arsenal's academy, so I don't know as much as other people, but it sounds like he's very highly rated. So that's exciting. It's really cool that we're working hard to get some of these young, prodigious talents in, and hopefully we'll see them. I know Amas, who's 17 now, has been looking really good. A lot of murmurs that he's going to be in and around the starting 11, not the starting 11, but like the match day squad this season. Collier obviously coming through as well. So it looks really bright. Sanita Fury, bro, believe me, even this season we're going to suffer. Latest show the players and bring other new players. We see where we're going. I'm telling you, on my side, I'm sick and tired of being insulted. I'm not sure what you mean by that, man. Who's insulting you? Let me know what's going on, bud. So I do think, as far as some of these sales and things, I think a lot of people have been impatient. A lot of people want, I think, honestly, over the near future, as in the next few days, I think the only thing we're going to see is maybe Wan-Bissaka leaving. And maybe we'll probably maybe up our price and get this double deal for Ligt and Mazraoui done. But I think as far as the next several days, I think that's probably all we're going to see right now. Unless Fulham come back and do a crazy deal for McTominay. I think if we sell McTominay, I think that we could see a midfielder pop in relatively soon. So again, like Danny says, I don't know if I'd want to blow 50 on Ugarte, but it's one of those things where, like, we can say back the manager, but at the same time, we don't want to spend a little bit more on a player that the manager might want. And so you can't always have it both ways. And so that's where the negotiators, like the Ashworths, the Broad, that's where those guys really need to earn their money and come in and make sure we're doing a good deal. They need to come in with competent alternatives. If Erik ten Hag, or any manager for that matter, if their first choice or everyone's first choice, if is not available. Sounds like we've drawn up a bit of a short list for alternatives. We were linked with Fofana recently, Zubamende, all these guys. Rabiot is still out there on a free. So we'll see. Danny B says you look at João Gomez. I like João Gomez a lot. So we'll see how it goes. But moving on a little bit to some injury news. Is anyone else besides me getting a little concerned with Rasmus Højlund's injuries? He picked up his hamstring strain against Arsenal. That's the second hamstring issue he's had in less than a year since joining United. He was not this injured when he was at Atalanta. He missed only 2 matches at Atalanta. He's missed 13 matches since joining United. Lenny Euro barely missed any minutes of football, and he's already injured before our season even started. Essentially, like, we're cursed. On Højlund, though, so they were talking a little bit about this on Sirius XM FC yesterday, but I was talking a little bit to them. For an explosive player like Højlund, someone who relies on that strength, that explosiveness, that speed getting out of the line, like, hamstring issues can be a very bad problem. They can be a long-term problem if they're not managed very correctly. Gareth Bale had several hamstring issues when he was young, even at Spurs before, and he got a couple when he went to Madrid. And as a result, like, just poor fitness, poor quality, whatever it is. He got a lot of muscle injuries later on in his career, a lot of issues with his calves later on as well. You know, when you're a player who relies on that for your game, that speed, that explosiveness, that power in your pace, like, that's going to be an issue. You're going to put way more strain on your legs than other players. Like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Romelu Lukaku, these guys aren't going to be putting as much strain on their legs as a powerful winger like a Gareth Bale or a pacey forward like a Højlund. And the key with hamstrings is we need to take it slow. You need to ease back into activity, which is going to be difficult as a professional footballer, right? It's just not. It's hard to take it slow. You don't get the choice in how slow to take it when you come onto the field. You have to play at that level, or the performance and the result is gonna suffer as a result. Danny B says João Gomez over them all. you love yourself some João Gomez. I like João Gomez. I think he does have that physicality that I like to see from a defensive midfielder. Right, he's not afraid to get stuck in. Maybe it's just because I'm old school, but I do like that in a midfielder, like your Roy Keane kind of mentality. Just leave a little on him. Even Scholesy did that. Scholesy was never the biggest guy in the pitch, but he was not afraid to leave a bit on somebody. So good news is with injuries, though, is I've been live for about 27 minutes now, and there's been no new injuries in the squad. So I call that a win. We have the worst luck. But on the injuries, we have some updates. So we have a Tyrell Malacia update, if you can believe it. I know we barely saw anything from Tyrell Malacia. I think we've seen more pictures of Bigfoot over the last year than we have of Tyrell Malacia. But he's been popping up in training and things over the summer. Speaking on Malacia, Ten Hag was asked about Malacia recently. He said, he's not that far, but he is now in a progress situation. At a relatively short notice, he can again return into a team training and then into team performance in games. I think it will be possible for him to return in 2 months. So Ten Hag's saying it's going to be like 2 months before we maybe see Tyrell Malacia involved in the matchday squad again. He spent like 16 months out of action. I still, honest to God, I can't even think off the top of my head what his injury actually was. If anyone out there knows what Malacia's issues were, let me know. But I don't think that I have any idea of what the problem was with Malacia. But in any case, he spent 16 months out. I don't think we can count on him to be match fit anytime soon. And can he even really be considered an option at left back right now, as it all stands at the moment? Like, again, I've said we need a left back because I wrote him off with recovery and getting match fit. I write Luke Shaw off because you have to just assume, based on the fact that he's only played about half as many games for United that he's been here for, that he's only going to be fit for like half the season. You just have to kind of, we have a big enough sample size with Luke Shaw to say, like, we can only be relied on for about half the season. So I think left back is key. Someone who, like Mazraoui, who can play left back. Dalot can also play left back if we need to as well. So we do have cover in Dalot, but we do need some help at right back, especially if we're looking to sell Wan-Bissaka and bring in Mazraoui. So we'll see what happens, but it does sound like Malacia he'll probably play a part this year, barring any sort of setback with the recovery. But good news for Malacia, and it sounds kind of heartless for me to say it. Like, you just can't count on him at this point in time. It is what it is. Ten Hag also commented that Marcus Rashford's injury is not too bad either. So again, sounds like it was just one of those preseason issues. We don't want to risk it. Same with Højlund, not going to risk it. Just, it is what it is. I'm still super pissed about the reasons for some of these injuries, the bad tackles. That Arsenal match was a shambles. The Betis match was an embarrassment too from a refereeing perspective. Marcus Rashford standing in the box, in Real Betis box, literally got a high studs up stamp on his ankle, went down, nothing even called. No, like, I get it, it's preseason, you don't want to give cards out. I get it, it's preseason, there's no VAR, but they're talking on the radio yesterday, like, oh, these are the normal kind of things are going to happen. You know, you're going to pick up knocks. Rashford needs to get on with it, kind of thing. I'm like, did you watch the match? Like, he literally got his studs high, like on his ankle, studs stamp on his ankle. Like, people were so quick to go in on Rashford in that match against Copenhagen, like, you should know better, that's a red card. This was way worse, and everyone's like, get over it. It's ridiculous. But it does sound like it's not too bad. Rashford does tend to pick up some ankle issues. Just the nature sometimes of the position he plays. When he's dribbling, is getting in the box, he's going to get kicked a little bit here and there. I'm not saying just to get over it. I'm just saying, like, the ankle stuff's going to happen. Grealish gets it all the time. It's the nature of just being a wide attacking player at sometimes. So it is what it is. I'm going to leave this live chat open because that's about it for the news and the updates. I'm going to check and see if anything else has popped up since I've gone live. You guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, throw them in the live chat real quick and we will discuss. Just want to see what we got here. You guys planning to watch the Liverpool match? It's a big match weekend on Saturday. There's a lot of big matches going on to close out this preseason. I know there's like a Madrid-Barcelona friendly, correct? Things like that. I know one of the teams near me who plays in the USL, Detroit City FC, has a match this on Saturday as well. And then obviously United play Liverpool. And if there's anything that tells you that these preseason tours are nothing but a cash grab, just look at some of these matches, man. It's a bit ridiculous. I'm so tired of it. I know it makes me sound old and bitter. I don't like friendlies. Like I said yesterday, when I hear the word friendly, all I hear is injury roulette. You just look, who's going to get injured this time? Like, it never fails. It never fails. Not really a whole lot going on. So that is going to do it for the live stream today, you guys. Thank you, everybody who did stop by and say, hey, Danny B, Sanita Fury, good to see a new face. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this double bid. Do you think we're going to get that deal done this weekend? Do you think Fulham are going to come back and lock in that McTominay deal? Nick Fadley, I would love to have the Ligt. Yeah, I think that right now, the Euro, I think a lot of people want the Ligt in sooner than later. The injuries still worry me, but I mean, it's almost like you have to just anticipate everybody who signs for United is going to be injured for a few months at some point. This is ridiculous, but see how it goes. If we can get those deals wrapped up, I think that would do a lot to just ease everyone's minds heading into this season, because we're all going to be without Euro for a little while and Højlund for a little while. So we will see what happens, but that is going to do it for me. Please, please, please like the video, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment on the video if you're not able to catch the live. I'll respond to all the comments. It's always nice to see everybody getting involved and engaging, asking questions. Let me know. But that's going to do it for me. Enjoy the rest of your day. If anything does pop up today, any sort of here we goes, any Ornstein Bobbas, any late breaking developments, I will, of course, be back to get your thoughts and share my own. But until then, enjoy the rest of your morning, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy, everyone.